they're now one of the best defensive teams in the league. If you look at their last 10 games since trading James Harden, I think it's 10 now.
They've definitely improved there.
They're the best defensive team in the league, and the Nets are the worst defensive team in the league in the last 10 games. And I don't think that's all on James Harden. I think that that's structural changes and having Christian Wood and Boogie Cousins playing the best that they've played in a long time. But Christian Wood, back to this original point, deserves to be in the All-Star game, to play alongside guys that, have influenced his career to this point, and also to show all the other franchises that have cut him in his career that they've made a mistake. I think that that's one of the best stories of the All-Star game would be to give Christian Wood a shot.
All right, now we're going to move on to our All-Star predictions, selections, discussion.
Here we go.
I'm pretty excited for this one.
Kick us off.
So I've got some locks here.
Let's talk how many players are on each team the basic concept of the All-Star game this year.
Right, getting ahead of myself, a bit excited.
You are.
So essentially, prefacing all this, there are going to be, for each conference, 5 backcourt players selected, 2 starters, and 7 front court players total, 3 starters for each conference. If they're continuing with how they've done it previously, there's going to be 2 captains that select the rest of their little roster. Like last season, it was LeBron and Giannis because they were the leading vote getters. That's usually how it goes. I honestly think this is shaping up to be one of the best all-star games in terms of talent. Yeah. There's a lot of hot names on there.
For both.
A lot of good basketball to be watched if they play well together. I'm sure they will. And I just wanted to say, in a previous podcast, we covered how the All-NBA teams need to be, they need to get rid of positions and just have the 15 best players for that season.
Yeah.
The All-Star game, you could argue, could do the same thing, even though you can't just have, all front court players. It's going to be kind of ugly. But I do think it's archaic that you have to have 5 backcourt players and 7 front court. I understand there's probably more front court players than there are backcourt, but sometimes there's an imbalance in talent, and it allows players to be snubbed. So I don't like how they've done that. I think that needs to be fixed up a bit. So yeah, Josh is back. He's got a new pair of headphones.
I had to switch up the headphones. My other ones went flat.
Yeah, you're welcome for all of this information.
Shout out to Dre Beats for sending my headphones flat. Appreciate you.
Great battery life.
Yeah, awesome.
But yeah, so all right, we'll start with the ones that I think are locks.
Yep.
I call this a pen selection. So you would write it in pen, so it's locked in. First of all, Bradley Beal has to make it. He's leading the league in scoring. Last year he was snubbed, and he was averaging close to 30 points a game, which was ridiculous.
Yep.
Say what you want about the Wizards' record, but Bradley Beal has been the definition of an all-star this year.
Brad Beal's fantastic.
Yeah. So I just think he should make that for obvious reasons.
100%.
James Harden, I think, definitely deserves to make it as a starter. I think he's become the Nets' de facto point guard. Josh enjoys that take. I think him stepping back to allow Irving to focus on scoring and Durant to have less of a burden overall has been really good for the Nets. And he's been putting up close to triple-double numbers on many nights. So I'm going to have James Harden as my starter. And finally, I've got Jalen Brown as a must-have in the All-Star game. He's been the Celtics' most consistent player and arguably the most defensively versatile player on the team aside from Marcus Smart. So as far as two-way players go, he's averaging 26 points a game and playing great defense. So you can't really argue to me if you're trying to select Jalen Brown for the All-Star game.
Brown. His music's great.
Shout out to the legend James Brown. May he rest in peace. What do you think?
I don't like James Harden, so I don't like the way he plays. I don't know him. Can't say I don't like him. I don't know him.
We feel like we know him, but we don't.
I mean, you hear about him every day.
Yeah.
I think Zach Levine should be the starter in the backcourt.
Ooh.
Yeah. I think a Zach Levine, Bradley Beal backcourt would be okay if you had a playmaker in the front court.
I don't hate that.
I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, you're there to watch offense. You're not there to watch defense. So
Fair.
Either one of those guys are good. And Zach Levine's having his best year in his career.
Yep.
He's probably having his best career. I don't know if he'll get another one.
He's living his best life
He
and
is.
is having his best career.
He's performing the best he's ever performed, playing sensational basketball.
26 points per game, I believe. About 5 and 5 otherwise.
He's easily been the best player on the Bulls.
Yeah.
And he deserves to be in the All-Star game, and I think he deserves to be a starter. So
Yeah, he's actually just under 50, 40, 90.
Yeah.
Because he's shooting 88% from the free throw line. We'll round up to 89.
Yeah.
And then, all right, screw it. We're going to round up to 50, 40, 90. Zach Levine, you're welcome. I think you're right. I think he should be in the All-Star game at least. I don't know if I'd put him as a starter. I forgot to pen in Kyrie Irving. Despite the fact that he had that little, hiatus, I think he deserves to make it. He's averaging, I think, the second most points per game on the Nets at this point. 28 points a game, 6 assists per game. He's having a career season scoring, and he is by definition, he's an all-star, and by definition of how you want to enjoy the all-star game, I think he deserves to make it. You can say what you want about him in terms of personality.
I don't think he's played enough.
I think by the time the All-Star game rolls around, it's only going to be a few games difference.
Still not enough.
Not enough?
No.
Okay.
Not
fair.
for Kyrie. Kyrie should play every game to be picked in the All-Star game.
Okay. All right. See, that's the thing. Is you're
It's bias.
There is a discrediting factor if you are going to, if you're going to debate a player that has played every game versus Irving. I understand where you're coming from, but I think because of his exciting play style, I think Kyrie is definitely in the All-Star game. For me, I would have to flip a coin between Zach Levine and Trae Young as the last spot. So I had Brad Beal, James Harden, Jalen Brown, Kyrie Irving. And then for the last one, I'd have to flip a coin because I can't really pick between Levine and Trae Young. They both deserve to make it. Others of note, Malcolm Brogdon and Colin Sexton.
We've got the list of the top 10 here. I can't believe that Brogdon's not in the top 10.
I can. He plays for Indiana. He's not an exciting player. That's partly what the All-Star... This is all fan voting.
Yeah, I know.
So there's no other input.
I know.
And not to say the fans aren't smart about the game, but there's a lot of people voting for...
You pick Westbrook. Westbrook doesn't deserve to be in the All-Star game.
Yeah, I don't like
Ben
that.
Simmons, that's debatable.
Yeah.
I don't think he's having a good enough year to be in the All-Star game. That team's being led by Embiid. And Derrick Rose is a fan vote. He doesn't deserve to be in the All-Star game. He's been all right this season, but I wouldn't say that he should be in the All-Star game.
I agree.
He's missed a fair amount of basketball, and I don't know. I
don't like it.
No, I think that
I like Derrick Rose, but I don't like it.
Malcolm Brogdon should be in the top 5, top 6 of voting. He's been amazing this season. He's a big reason why Indiana have been performing at the level they have been, and why Domantas Sabonis is having a career year.
Well, that whole system has changed with the new coach, but he's flourishing big time. He's averaging over 20 a game.
Super efficient.
Yeah,
too.
he's one of the best players on the eastern side of things.
Yep.
But nonetheless, I would probably... I'm just flipping a coin in my head. I'll pick Zach Levine as well. I want to see him make the All-Star game.
Yeah.
I want to see him dunk on Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, I do too. That'd be great to watch.
That's a mild take for the All-Star game. Now,
Rudy Gobert.
Rudy Gobert. Moving on to the front court. Obviously... these are super obvious pen picks. Durant, Embiid, Giannis, obviously.
Duh.
Domantas Sabonis, Jason Tatum, and Bam Adebayo. Less obvious because there is a final spot for that 7 in the front court.
Jimmy Buckets.
Jimmy Buckets is number 5 in All-Star voting. Once again, what is happening here?
Yeah.
That's a fan vote if I've ever seen one.
Yeah.
Although a few years ago, I believe, who was it? There was a player, Zaza Pachulia. In the West was among the leaders in voting on the first year of the Durant Warriors.
Yeah.
So the fan voting is a bit embarrassing. It is what it is. They've sort of weighed. The NBA has changed the voting to be more weighted.
Yeah.
So you have, I think, 50% is fan voting, and then the rest is other stuff. So it's half-half kind of. So it can't all be the fans, which is fair. But nonetheless, we're fans as well. And what we say goes. So what we're spitting is facts. Jimmy Butler shouldn't be in the top 5. For voting. Great player, but he's missed almost the entire season.
Yeah. Buckets has missed a lot of basketball this year.
Yeah.
And to be fair to the rest of the players in contention here, Julius Randle, and Gordon Hayward and Jeremy Grant
Chris
are
Middleton.
having much better. Yeah, Chris Middleton too.
Look,
are having much better seasons as a whole picture
yeah.
than what Jimmy Butler has been able to produce in a limited amount of basketball. So
Yeah. Has he played 5 games this year, Jimmy?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah.
I really don't think so.
Look.
He's just played 3 in a row, so possibly he's just hit that number, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
So here's the thing, right? If you look at the voting, the good news is, and I don't want to harp on this too much, but the good news is the top 3 are the ones that get selected by the fans. After Embiid, who's number 3 from the first tally at 1.5 million votes, the drop-off is almost half to Jason Tatum. So it's unlikely that Jimmy's going to climb up and get into that. But I could be jinxing the whole system right now with that take.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, the last spot for me is between Chris Middleton, Gordon Hayward, and Julius Randle. There is a case for Nikola Vucevic for the Orlando Magic.
Having a career year.
So give us that stat on Nikola Vucevic.
He had a stat line against the Nets this season that no center in NBA history ever produced.
Wow.
30-point game, 34 points, 10-plus rebounds, 10 rebounds exactly. He had more than 5 assists. He had 7. He had more than 5 steals. He had 5. And he made more than 5 threes, or 5 and up. And he had exactly 5. That's never been done by any center in NBA history.
He is a
Which
unique
pretty
player.
Amazing.
I'll give him that. He's a very unique player. In terms of his skill set, it's hard to find that in the league, and that's why I think that the Orlando Magic have held on to him, despite them being very mediocre every year.
He's not athletic,
Nah.
not at all. But he averages the most points out of the pick and roll in the NBA, which is, obviously the core to most teams.
He's a very
offense.
he's a very high usage center for that team.
He's quiet. He doesn't complain. He never puts a foot out of line.
It's true.
And he averages more points than every center not named Joel Embiid or Nikola Jokic, which is pretty impressive.
Credit to Nikola.
Yeah.
To Vooch.
He deserves a mention. He deserves to be in the voting, but
Deserves
he's not
a
at the
mention.
moment.
He
So,
deserves to be in contention.
yes.
But he would be in my... So, again, just going over what I feel here. Kevin Durant, Joel Embiid, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Domantas Sabonis, Jason Tatum, Bam Adebayo. Locks. Absolutely need to be in there.
Yeah.
My last pick, I'm going to go with a feel-good story. I want to see Gordon Hayward in the All-Star game.
I like that too.
I want to give credit to Chris Middleton. He's ahead of... So my not-so-sure take was Chris Middleton, Gordon Hayward, Julius Randle, and Vucevic. Middleton has the best advanced stats of all of them. He's 50, 40, 90. He's not flashy. He's not even in the top 10 for voting. But he gets it done. His team has a better record than Hayward does. But since Bam Adebayo is a lock, I can't really use record as an argument.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with Gordon Hayward as the final spot in the front court for the East.
The other nice story is Julius Randle.
Yeah.
If he makes the All-Star game, that'd be great for New York basketball and for Julius Randle too.
Yeah, no doubt.
I think there's a high chance that he could be traded as well while his ceiling is so high and while there's people talking about him and teams in contention may decide that they want Julius Randle.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, that story's sensational and he deserves to be in contention, and so does Jeremy Grant. That's another great story. Proved us wrong, shut us up, and he deserves to be in contention.
Yeah, I've never been humbled like Jeremy Grant has humbled me.
Neither.
All right, now let's move on to the West.
Ooh.
It's pretty loaded, as everyone would imagine.
Yeah.
We'll start in the backcourt. So the obvious picks, my obvious picks are Stephen Curry and Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
For All-Star starters.
That kind of shocked me a bit that Doncic was included in the guards.
Well, he's their de facto point guard.
I mean, yeah, he carries the ball up the court.
Yeah.
But
they play 3 guards, really.
Yeah, they do.
So that's the thing.
Yeah.
They don't have a front court, back court.
Yeah, which
sort
is
of
why this
system.
is so archaic. Anyway, continue.
It's weird.
Yeah.
So, I've got Curry and Luka, and then I had Damian Lillard.
Has to be.
Donovan Mitchell.
Yes.
And CJ McCollum, who unfortunately was just recently injured.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I'd have him. I think he's leading the league in threes attempted or threes made per game if it's not Curry.
Yep.
And he's averaging a career high in points. McCollum is, so shout out to him. So those are the 5 backcourts, so that's sorted. Just a, sort of an honorable mention, John Morant, although he missed some games, has been outstanding for
He's
Memphis.
missed a fair few, yeah. So
And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Canadian, has been outstanding for Oklahoma City. Even though that team has been pesky, they've been a bit scrappy and sort of winning games that you wouldn't expect them to win.
Yeah.
I can't give him a spot over the top 5. So, but shout out to SGA. He's been outstanding.
The other interesting thing with the fan voting is they have Klay Thompson at 10.
See what I mean? It's ridiculous.
He's
not even going to touch the court.
It's so dumb.
It's really dumb.
It's really dumb.
Why is he even on the ballot? That's
idea.
where the NBA goes wrong.
I have no idea.
Why is he on the ballot?
Dude, I don't know. I don't get it.
They're trying to get data or something.
I don't get it.
There's no point.
I don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, Devin Booker over CJ McCollum.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And Devin Booker over Chris Paul.
Yeah.
He's not having his best season. Anyway.
Yeah.
Whatever. Let's continue.
I'm going to get angry.
Yeah.
And break something.
Don't want Mac mad.
Let me breathe. Front court. I've got obvious picks here. LeBron, Jokic, Kawhi Leonard. It's pretty easy to say that.
I honestly think that this 5's sorted. You know, the top 5 that are in there, they're there.
Easy.
Like, that's it.
Yeah.
And then, 6 and 7's debatable.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, LeBron, Jokic, Leonard, and then Paul George has to be in there. He's having a career season, 50, 40, 90, if I'm not mistaken still.
Yeah.
Rudy Gobert, obviously the leading guy for that defense in Utah.
Not even in the top 10 voting.
Not in the voting, not surprising, but in terms of selections, he has to be there. And Anthony Davis, of course. Great player. Although he's had a bit of a down season statistically, he's the Lakers' second best player.
Yep.
He shows out every night, and he's a problem for every team.
Yep.
Great all-star
Does his job.
player.
Like, just, he's just a professional.
Yeah, absolutely.
In every sense.
So that leaves one final spot, and this is where I'm interested to hear what you think.
Mm-hmm.
I actually don't know how I feel right now, so you might be able to influence my decision here.
Mm-hmm.
So I had Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, both of them from the Pelicans, and Christian Wood from Houston, who's averaging a 20 and 10 this year, arguably the Rockets' best player right now.
Honestly, the only player that I think deserves a spot based on their performance is Christian Wood.
Wow.
Yeah. I think that those other 2 players have a long way to go as far as development in their own careers, whereas Christian Wood has come into a new situation and stamped his claim.
He's the real deal.
To be one of the best big men in the league. And I think that that's enough. Going to a new franchise, he's already been to 6 or 7 of them. Like, this guy's
nuts.
And he's only 25. Like,
yeah.
You would look at him as a journeyman. You'd look at him as a 10-year vet. But the fact is, he's been to that many situations. He's been through that many things in his career to get to this point. I think he needs to be included in the All-Star game.
I like that argument.
His impact on the court for the Rockets. They're now one of the best defensive teams in the league. If you look at their last 10 games since trading James Harden, I think it's 10 now.
They've definitely improved there.
They're the best defensive team in the league. And the Nets are the worst defensive team in the league in the last 10 games. And I don't think that's all on James Harden. I think that that's structural changes and having Christian Wood and Boogie Cousins playing the best that they've played in a long time. But Christian Wood, back to this original point, deserves to be in the All-Star game, to play alongside guys that, have influenced his career to this point, and also to show all the other franchises that have cut him in his career that they've made a mistake. I think that that's one of the best stories of the All-Star game would be to give Christian Wood a shot.
Yeah, it's one of the most competitive comeback player of the year races this year between him and Gordon Hayward.
Yeah.
I might be forgetting someone else, but those top 2, that's a pretty spectacular couple of stories there.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a really tough one because I really like Brandon Ingram. I like his game. But if I'm choosing an all-star, for me, it's between Zion Williamson and Christian Wood. And again, I might have to flip a coin. Let me just have a look at the voting. I want to see what people have thought of that. Have you got it? I will get it.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, so Christian Wood's at 8 and Zion's at 6.
See, and Wiggins at 7 is kind of like, what is happening?
Carmelo is at 10. I didn't even want
to
mention it.
Carmelo's at 10.
Carmelo. I didn't want to mention Wiggins. Like, those guys have had a pretty good season, but they're not all-stars. Come on, fans.
No, I agree. Look, I'm going to go with Zion, not to be contrarian, but I want to see Zion in the All-Star game. I like Christian Wood's game, but I want to see Zion dunk on some people.
I think that the All-Star game needs to be extended. There needs to be more players included.
15 maybe?
I think so, yeah. I think, adding guys like Christian Wood and Zion, Zion's a young up-and-coming player, still on his rookie contract. I think there should be space for players like that to be able to make it, to maximize their revenue in their careers. So I don't know.
That's a good point.
I don't know if most people know this, but the max that a team can offer, the super max, is only available if they make 2 All-Star games or 2 All-NBA teams. So
doesn't it have to do with years played as well?
Yeah, so years played as well. So it actually increases the amount of years they play for a franchise. But the original, the first contract they can sign, the max amount of money that they can earn on their first contract, therefore dictating the amount they can earn for their whole career, is based on how many All-Star games and All-NBA nods that they get. Extending the All-Star game and extending the roster of the All-NBA teams would allow players like Zion, like Christian Wood, like Brandon Ingram to maximize their income. So Bam Adebayo was only able to get the max extension because he made an All-NBA team and All-Defensive team last year.
It's tough.
It was lucky because he only just scraped into the All-Star game because there was an out.
An injury?
Yeah, there was an injury. So he only just scraped in and he was only just able to get the max contract with Miami because of that. And I don't think that's fair to a lot of the younger players who don't have the name yet and may not have the votes to be able to make it, but deserve to be there. Zion's one of those for me. But I also think that, players like Christian Wood, where they have a story that's interesting to people, like a true underdog story,
absolutely
deserve to be included in the All-Star game.
Yeah. No, you've made a fantastic argument for Christian Wood. I think it's funny how these are like two opposites, where Zion has been in the spotlight since day one of playing basketball, arguably.
100%. Yep.
And Christian Wood has had to scrap for everything he's earned.
Yep.
So, pretty interesting debate. Maybe I am being contrarian. I'm still going to stick with Zion because I want to see him in the All-Star game. But if Christian Wood makes it, I'm not mad.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
He's a great player. He's fun to watch. So talented. I'm really happy for him and getting that contract with Houston. Again, what was Detroit doing, honestly? Like, they got Jeremy Grant, I get it. But why didn't you just keep Christian Wood? Like, what were you doing?
I mean, the minutes are incredibly different to what he was playing in Detroit. He's playing 30 minutes a game in Houston, and in Detroit he was playing 21. He only started 12 games for Detroit, and he started all 17 for Houston. So the misbalance between his Detroit season and Houston have just said, we know what you're capable of. He's played a majority of his minutes at center for Houston, whereas he was playing power forward in the 4 for Detroit. And for most of his career, that's what everyone thought he was. So to come in, bulk up, be able to play big minutes at center, defensively make an impact, and offensively put up, 22 and 11.
Yeah.
Like,
outstanding.
Just,
good for him.
We really should, go into Christian Wood's career because his story's quite amazing, really.
It's pretty incredible to look back on it and think this guy's made it now. So good for him. But yeah. All right. Well, we'll just wrap it up with you're wrong, I'm right. So,
that's fair. Whatever.
Yep. Zion Williamson.
You're
welcome.
You do you. I don't give a shit.
You got to bleep that one out.
I have to bleep it out.